Yep.
Today, we're going to take a shift and we're going to start to talk about emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Now, I think this is an important topic because we're always, what's your IQ and your intelligence level. But I think sometimes we forget about the emotional intelligence side of it.
Yeah.
And I think the emotional intelligence side of it is also almost, for me, more important than the how smart am I? It's like how do I relate to people is probably more important. From my perspective.
Yeah.
So can you give me a quick breakdown of emotional intelligence?
Sure, no problems. Okay. So if I were to describe emotional intelligence maybe to a 5-year-old, like my daughter, emotional intelligence is being smart about your feelings. If I were to talk to someone a little bit older, I would say, well, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, to manage, and to harness both the emotional state of yourself and of other people. It's an area that very often we don't spend time learning and thinking about, but it is so important in every aspect of life. And for the family that don't know my background, I actually come from a very technical background. I studied electronic engineering and computer sciences. I've spent 15 years in the tech industry, doing everything from software development through to sales, executive, and everything in between. And what I have found, whether you're in a very technical field or whether you're in a very interpersonal field, these interpersonal and intrapersonal skills are really, really important. They make a huge difference both in your professional life, but also, and I would say especially, in your personal life. And I have found these skills to be most relevant when I became a dad.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Up till then, I thought that I was quite under control. I understood my emotional state. I could regulate myself. I didn't have many outbursts. And then I had a kid. And my goodness, there is something about a crying child that, shakes something deep to your core. And so for some people, it manifests in compassion and, oh, you poor thing, let me help you. For me, it didn't. For me, it was at 3 a.m. in the morning going, would you please stop? Could you just let me sleep? I have never, snapped or had emotional meltdowns so many times as I did in the first few years of my child's life.
Yeah.
And so I had to start practicing all these things that I've been teaching. How do you understand how you feel? How do you regulate how you feel? How do you express it in a way that is healthy, not just for yourself, but also for my child who is watching every single thing I do. So for the family out there, whether it's in your professional life or in your personal life, emotional intelligence is so important.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I love that story about being a father and trying to bring that emotion and compassion to your daughter. Because I think that's a real thing for us. Sometimes we don't actually stop to think about how our reactions affect other people even as adults. We can do those little things, like we can snap at someone and not realize the consequences of that in a relationship. That is emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And especially if you have, those emotional outbursts. Not even the big ones. Sometimes it's the snide remarks.
Yes.
That little passive aggressiveness, that undercurrents of I don't quite like you, and I'm trying to undermine what you're doing. Those things have long-term consequences. And I know very often we talk about the impacts on relationships, but there are workplace relationships as well. In fact, I actually just recently did a talk to a group of very technical people on artificial intelligence versus emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And what I was saying is that, hey, it doesn't matter how technical you are, you're always dealing with people. You're always dealing with other people, whether they be your bosses, your colleagues, your vendors, your suppliers, your clients, but you're also always dealing with yourself.
Yeah.
You're always going to have to manage your own stress, your own anxiety, your own worries, all that kind of stuff. And that's where emotional intelligence really comes into play.